The rescue. Liam Everheart wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished calibrating the colony's main power grid. The work was demanding, but he found satisfaction in keeping the settlement of New Haven running smoothly on the remote planet Hestia V. The alien world had become his home over the past 2 years, with its shimmering forests and lavender-tinted skies that turned crimson at sunset. As evening approached, Liam decided to take his usual hike along the cliffs overlooking the Galera River. The colonists often warned him about the dangerous currents, but he found peace in the solitude. The rushing water below carved through dense alien forests, creating a symphony of natural sounds that helped him forget his homesickness for Earth. The massive trees around him swayed gently, their leaves shifting between gold, violet, and green in the fading light. Strange insects hummed their alien melodies while distant creature calls echoed through the forest. Liam had grown to love these evening walks, but tonight would be different. A desperate roar shattered the peaceful evening air. Liam froze, his heart racing as the sound echoed up from the river below. Splashing and thrashing followed, filled with unmistakable panic. He rushed to the cliff's edge and peered down into the churning waters. What he saw took his breath away. Caught in a powerful whirlpool was a creature unlike anything he'd ever encountered. It was massive, easily twice the size of Earth's largest cats, with an elongated body resembling a leopard. Its fur gleamed with an iridescent sheen that caught the dying sunlight in cascades of brilliant color. Powerful limbs flailed against the current while its long, muscular tail thrashed like a whip. The creature's eyes blazed fierce green as they met his for a terrifying moment. Those eyes held intelligence, and desperate fear. Liam didn't hesitate. Without thinking, he dropped his pack and jacket, kicked off his boots, and calculated his chances. They weren't good, but watching this magnificent being drown was unthinkable. He dove. The icy water hit him like a physical blow, and the current immediately tried to drag him downstream. His limbs began numbing as he fought toward the alien leopard, which was being pulled under by the whirlpool. It let out another desperate roar, its eyes mixing fear with defiance. Liam reached the creature just as its head began to sink. He grabbed onto its sleek fur, feeling the immense power of its muscles as it continued to struggle. For a terrifying moment, he thought they would both drown, but he managed to pull the creature's head above water. Wrapping one arm around its neck, he used his other hand to paddle toward shore. The current fought them every stroke, and Liam's muscles burned with exertion. Slowly, agonizingly, they made progress toward the bank. The creature seemed to understand he was helping and stopped struggling as much, its body going limp with exhaustion. Liam could feel its heart racing beneath his arm as they fought the river together. After what felt like hours, Liam's feet finally touched the muddy bottom. With his last reserves of strength, he hauled both himself and the alien leopard onto the shore, collapsing beside the massive creature in exhaustion. They lay there breathing heavily as night fell and the sky turned deep purple. Liam's body ached, and cold seeped into his bones, but adrenaline kept him conscious. He turned to look at the creature beside him, its otherworldly fur still shimmering despite being matted with water. He had saved it, but now what? As Liam sat up shakily, something caught his eye. Around the creature's neck, barely visible beneath thick fur, was a collar. Made of dark metal and etched with glowing symbols that pulsed with faint light, it was clearly artificial. His heart skipped a beat. This wasn't just a wild animal, it belonged to someone. Or something. The creature stirred, and its glowing green eyes fixed on him once more. This time, there was no fear in them, only a strange intelligence that made Liam wonder what he had truly rescued from the depths of the Galera River. The Guardian. The alien leopard slowly rose to its feet, towering over Liam in the moonlight. Up close, its presence was even more imposing, easily 8 feet long and built like a perfect predator. Yet as those intelligent green eyes studied him, Liam sensed no hostility, only curiosity. The collar around its neck pulsed brighter now, the strange symbols seeming to respond to something. Liam reached toward it cautiously, but the creature stepped back with a low rumble that wasn't quite a growl, more like a warning. "Easy there," Liam whispered, backing away with his hands raised. I just want to help. To his amazement, the creature tilted its head as if considering his words. It padded closer, moving with fluid grace despite its size, and gently nudged Liam's shoulder with its massive head. The gesture was unmistakably one of gratitude. A rustling in the forest made them both freeze. The creature's ears perked up, and it positioned itself between Liam and the tree lean, muscles tensed for action. Whatever was coming through the undergrowth was big. 3 figures emerged from the shadows, tall, humanoid beings wearing form-fitting suits that seemed to absorb light. Their faces were partially concealed by masks, but Liam could see elongated features and large, dark eyes that reflected the moonlight. Each carried a device that hummed with energy. The lead figure spoke in a melodic language Liam didn't recognize, but the translation came through his collar's built-in systems. Kestra, you were lost to us. We feared the worst. The alien leopard, apparently named Kestra, responded with a series of low rumbles and chirps. The beings relaxed visibly, lowering their weapons. You saved our guardian, the leader said, this time in accented but clear English. This is unexpected. Humans are not known for such selfless acts toward unknown species. Liam struggled to his feet, still dripping and exhausted. I couldn't just watch her drown. Anyone would have done the same. No, the being replied, removing their mask to reveal a face that was both alien and beautiful, high cheekbones, silver-tinted skin, and those large, dark eyes filled with ancient wisdom. Not anyone. I am Saren of the Valdoran people. You have done something remarkable, human. Kestra moved to Saren's side, nuzzling against the tall being with obvious affection. The other Valdorans whispered among themselves in their musical language. She's your pet? Liam asked, immediately regretting the word choice. Saren's expression shifted, and Liam caught what might have been amusement. Guardian. Companion. Friend. Your language lacks the proper word. Kestra has been with my family for 3 generations. She is, how do you say, irreplaceable. The collar around Kestra's neck pulsed brighter, and suddenly Liam heard a voice in his mind, not words, but emotions and images. Gratitude. Warmth. Recognition of the bond formed in their shared struggle against the river. She speaks to you now, Saren observed with interest. The collar translates not just language, but intent and emotion. She has marked you as significant. Liam stared at Kestra in wonder. The creature, the guardian, gazed back with those intelligent eyes, and he felt a connection he couldn't explain. Your people, Saren continued, they live in the settlement beyond the ridge, yes. We have watched from afar. The Valdorans have been on Hestia V for centuries, but we avoid contact with off-world species. Until now. Why now? Liam asked. Saren exchanged glances with the other Valdorans before answering. Because someone was willing to risk their life for one of ours, expecting nothing in return. This speaks to character we rarely encounter. Perhaps it is time for our peoples to meet properly. Kestra padded over to Liam again, this time pressing her massive head against his chest in another gesture of affection. The warmth of her body helped chase away some of the cold from his wet clothes. She has chosen you, Saren said with what sounded like surprise. In all my years, I have never seen Kestra bond with an outsider so quickly. There is something about you, Liam Everheart. You know my name. We know many things about your settlement. It is our way to observe before acting. But Kestra's choice changes things. If you are willing, we would like to invite you to our city. There are things you should see, truths about this world that your people do not know. Liam looked at Kestra, who seemed to nod encouragingly. The evening had already turned his world upside down. What was one more impossible thing? I'll come, he said. But first, I need to get back to the colony. People will worry if I don't return. Of course, Saren agreed. But understand, once you see what we will show you, your life will never be the same. You will become a bridge between our peoples, whether you choose it or not. As they began the trek back toward Liam's discarded belongings, Kestra walked beside him like a protective shadow. The collar around her neck continued to pulse gently, and through it, he felt her contentment at being safe and her growing affection for the human who had saved her life. Looking up at the alien stars of Hestia V, Liam realized his quiet life as a colony engineer was about to become something far more extraordinary. The ancient city. 3 days later, Liam found himself following Saren and the other Valdorans through a hidden path in the forest. He had convinced his supervisor that he needed personal leave to recover from his accident at the river, carefully omitting the part about rescuing an alien guardian and meeting her people. Kestra padded silently beside him, occasionally brushing against his leg in a gesture of companionship. The mental connection through her collar had grown stronger, allowing them to share simple emotions and intentions. She radiated contentment at being reunited with her people and pride in her new human friend. "We are close now," Saren announced as they crested a rocky hill covered in twisted alien trees. "Prepare yourself, Liam Everheart. Few outsiders have ever seen Valephara." They descended into a valley that seemed unremarkable at first, more forest, more strange vegetation. But as they walked deeper, Liam began to notice subtle changes. The trees grew in patterns too regular to be natural. Stone formations jutted from the ground in geometric shapes. And then, as they rounded a bend in the path, he saw it. The city of Valephara rose from the valley floor like something from a dream. Spires of gleaming crystal and metal stretched toward the sky, connected by graceful bridges that seemed to float without support. Buildings flowed organically into the landscape, as if they had grown rather than been constructed. Everything pulsed with a soft, inner light that made the entire city appear alive. "It's beautiful," Liam whispered, stopping in his tracks. "It is old," Saren replied. "Older than your species' recorded history. The Valdorans have been guardians of this world for millennia, long before the first human ships arrived in this system. They entered the city through gates that recognized Saren and opened soundlessly." Valdorans stopped their activities to stare at Liam with curious eyes. Some appeared concerned, others intrigued. Children, smaller versions of adults with the same silver-tinted skin, peered out from behind their parents with wide-eyed wonder. Kestra seemed to enjoy the attention, her tail swishing proudly as she escorted her human friend through the streets. Through their connection, Liam felt her satisfaction at showing off her new companion. Saren led them to the city's heart, where a massive crystal structure rose like a mountain of pure light. "The archive," she explained. "Here lies the history of Hestia V and the reason why your people must know the truth." Inside the archive, walls displayed images that shifted and moved like living memories. Saren touched a panel, and the chamber filled with holographic representations of the planet's past. "Long ago," Saren began, "Hestia V was home to a species called the Zephyrians. They were ancient when the Valdorans were young, masters of technology that could reshape worlds. But they were also dying. The holograms showed magnificent cities that dwarfed even Valephara, populated by beings of pure energy who moved like living light through structures that defied physics. The Zephyrians knew their time was ending, so they chose successors. The Valdorans were selected to guard this world and its secrets until a worthy species could inherit their legacy. For thousands of years, we waited and watched. New images appeared, crude spacecraft arriving from distant stars. Humans taking their first steps on Hestia V. When your people came, we observed them closely. Most showed promise but also the potential for destruction that has marked many young species. We were not convinced humanity was ready for the Zephyrian legacy." Kestra moved closer to Liam, pressing against his side as if offering comfort for what was to come. "But then," Saren continued, "one human risked his life to save a guardian, asking nothing in return. This act of selfless courage impressed not just us, but the archive itself." The crystal walls around them began to glow brighter, responding to some unseen presence. The Zephyrians built into their legacy a test: only those who showed true compassion for other life forms could access their greatest gifts. By saving Kestra, you have passed that test, Liam Everheart. A section of the floor began to descend, revealing a hidden chamber below. Inside, Liam could see devices and structures that seemed to bend reality around them, technology so advanced it appeared magical. "What is it?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "The tools to reshape worlds. To heal environmental damage. To enable faster-than-light travel without the crude engines your people currently use. To bring peace between species across the galaxy." Saren's expression grew solemn. "And the power to destroy entire star systems if misused." The weight of responsibility settled on Liam's shoulders like a heavy cloak. "Why me? I'm just an engineer." "Sometimes the greatest heroes are ordinary people who do extraordinary things when circumstances demand it," Saren replied. "The Archive has chosen you as the first human to know this truth. What you do with this knowledge will determine whether your species is ready to join the greater galactic community or if they must wait another 1,000 years. Kestra rumbled softly, and through their connection, Liam felt her confidence in him. She had seen his character in the desperate moments by the river, and she trusted him completely. "I can't make this decision alone," Liam said finally. "My people deserve to know what's at stake." Saren smiled, the first truly warm expression he had seen from her. Spoken like a true guardian. "Yes, your people must choose their path together. But first, you must learn to use the gifts that have been unlocked by your compassion." As they descended into the Zephyrian chamber, Liam realized that his simple life as a colony engineer was not just over, it had been transformed into something he could never have imagined. The drowning guardian he had saved had become the key to humanity's future among the stars. The choice. Over the following weeks, Liam learned to interface with Zephyrian technology under Saren's careful guidance. The ancient devices responded to intention and emotion as much as technical knowledge, making his engineering background surprisingly relevant. Kestra remained his constant companion, her presence helping him stay grounded as he absorbed knowledge that challenged everything he thought he understood about the universe. The hardest part was keeping the secret from his fellow colonists. Every day at New Haven felt like living a double life. His friends noticed his distraction, his supervisor questioned his frequent absences, and Liam found himself making increasingly elaborate excuses for his time away from the settlement. "This can't continue," he told Saren during one of their sessions in the archive. "They're starting to get suspicious, and I hate lying to people I care about." Saren nodded thoughtfully. "The time for secrecy is ending. The archive has been monitoring your people's communications. There are developments that concern us." She activated a holographic display showing intercepted messages from Earth. "Your homeworld's government has detected unusual energy signatures from Hestia V. They're sending a military expedition to investigate. They will arrive within 2 months." Liam felt his blood run cold. "They'll see this as a threat. Humans don't react well to hidden alien civilizations." "Precisely our concern," Saren agreed. "Which is why we must act now. Your colony administrator, Director Sarah Chen, she has a reputation for fairness and wisdom, yes?" "She's the best leader we could ask for," Liam confirmed. "But asking her to believe all this." Kestra brushed against his leg, projecting feelings of encouragement through their bond. The Guardian had never steered him wrong. "Then we invite her here," Saren decided. "It is time for humanity to face its destiny." The next morning, Liam requested a private meeting with Director Chen. Sarah was a woman in her 50s, with graying hair and sharp intelligence that had guided New Haven through 2 years of successful colonization. She listened without interruption as Liam told her everything: the rescue, the Valdorans, the ancient legacy waiting to be claimed. When he finished, she sat in silence for a long moment. "Liam," she said finally, "either you've had a complete psychological break, or you're telling me the most important story in human history." "I know how it sounds," he replied. "But I can prove it. Come with me. See for yourself." 3 hours later, Director Chen stood in the heart of Valethera, staring at the crystal spires with the same wonder Liam had felt on his first visit. Kestra had taken an immediate liking to the director, perhaps sensing her leadership qualities. "My God," Sarah whispered as Saren explained the Zephyrian legacy. "The technology you're describing, it could solve every environmental crisis on Earth. End resource wars. Unite humanity in ways we've never imagined. Or destroy you all if misused," Saren reminded her gently. "This is why the decision cannot be made lightly. Your people must choose wisely." Director Chen spent 3 days in the archive, learning what Liam had learned, experiencing the weight of the choice facing humanity. When she emerged, her expression was grim but determined. "We need to tell Earth what we've found," she decided. "But on our terms, not theirs. If a military expedition arrives here expecting hostility, it could start a war that destroys everything." "What do you propose?" Liam asked. "We send our own message first. Tell Earth about the Valdorans, about the legacy, about the choice we face. Make it clear that this isn't a threat to be conquered but an opportunity to evolve." She looked at Saren. "Will your people help us make contact with Earth's civilian leadership?" "We will," Saren agreed. "But understand, once this knowledge spreads, there will be no going back. Your species will be judged by how it handles this revelation." Over the next week, they prepared the most important transmission in human history. Director Chen worked with Earth's political leaders through encrypted channels, while Liam and Saren collaborated on technical demonstrations that would prove the reality of what they claimed. The response from Earth was swift and predictable: disbelief, demands for proof, threats to recall the entire colony if this was some elaborate hoax. But as evidence mounted and the Valdorans made direct contact with Earth's scientists, attitudes began to shift. The military expedition was quietly recalled and replaced with a diplomatic mission led by Earth's most respected xenobiologists and cultural ambassadors. The first formal meeting between humanity and the Valdoran collective was scheduled to take place on Hestia V in 6 weeks. "You've done something remarkable," Saren told Liam as they watched the sunset from Valefora's highest tower. "In just a few weeks, you've changed the course of galactic history." Kestra lay beside them, her collar glowing softly in the fading light. Through their bond, Liam felt her contentment and pride in how events had unfolded. "I just did what felt right," he replied. "Same as when I pulled her from the river." "And that," Saren said with a smile, "is exactly why the archive chose correctly." As the first stars appeared in Hestia V's lavender sky, Liam realized that his role as a bridge between species was just beginning. The real test would come when Earth's representatives arrived and humanity as a whole had to prove they were worthy of the ancient legacy waiting among the stars. New Horizons. The diplomatic ship Harmony touched down in New Haven's expanded spaceport exactly 6 weeks later. Liam watched from the observation deck as Earth's finest ambassadors, scientists, and cultural experts emerged onto the soil of Hestia V. Among them was Dr. Elena Vasquez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, and Ambassador James Wright, whose reputation for peaceful first contact protocols had earned him respect across human space. Kestra stood beside Liam, no longer hiding her presence from the colonists who had grown accustomed to seeing the magnificent guardian around their settlement. Her collar pulsed gently as she sensed his nervousness. "They're going to be fine," Director Chen assured him. "We've prepared them as well as we could." The formal presentation took place in New Haven's community center, hastily expanded to accommodate both human and Valdoran delegates. Saren entered with a delegation of her people, their movements graceful and purposeful. The assembled humans fell silent, many seeing Valdorans for the first time. Ambassador Wright stepped forward. "On behalf of humanity, we greet you with respect and gratitude for this opportunity to meet." Saren inclined her head formally. "The Valdoran Collective welcomes Earth's representatives. We hope this marks the beginning of a lasting alliance between our peoples." What followed was 3 days of intense discussions, demonstrations, and cultural exchange. The Valdorans shared carefully selected samples of Zephyrian technology, medical devices that could heal injuries thought permanent, environmental restoration tools that could reverse centuries of damage, and communication systems that enabled understanding between any intelligent species. The human delegates were appropriately amazed, but Liam was proud to see they also asked the right questions about safeguards, ethics, and responsibility. Dr. Vasquez was particularly fascinated by Kestra. The symbiotic collar technology is remarkable, she told Saren during a break in the proceedings. The emotional and conceptual translation opens up possibilities for interspecies cooperation we never imagined. Kestra chose her human partner well, Saren replied, glancing at Liam with something that might have been fondness. His compassion made this entire exchange possible. On the final day, Ambassador Wright addressed both delegations. We've seen wonders beyond our imagination, and we've been offered gifts that could transform humanity's future. But with these gifts comes enormous responsibility. Earth's government has authorized me to propose a formal alliance between our species, with specific protocols for the gradual introduction of Zephyrian technology to human civilization. The terms were carefully negotiated, a joint council would oversee the technology transfer, ensuring it was used for peaceful purposes and the betterment of all life. Humanity would have a probationary period to prove their worthiness, while the Valdorans would serve as guides and teachers. Most importantly, Hestia V would become a neutral world, jointly administered by both species as a symbol of cooperation. There is one more thing, Saren announced as the formal agreements were signed. The Archive has accepted its first human student. Liam Everheart will remain here to continue his training as a guardian of the legacy. Liam felt Kestra's joy through their bond as applause filled the room. His new role would be challenging, learning to use ancient technology while helping humanity navigate its greatest transition, but he couldn't imagine being anywhere else. 6 months later, Liam stood in the same spot by the Galera River where he had first heard Kestra's desperate cries. The alien leopard padded up beside him, now wearing a new collar that marked her as co-guardian alongside her human partner. The river still rushed with the same power, but now it seemed less dangerous and more beautiful. A bridge spanned the water, the first joint construction project between humans and Valdorans, built using a hybrid of Earth engineering and Zephyrian technology. Through Kestra's collar, Liam felt a warm pulse of contentment from his companion. The drowning creature he had saved had become not just his partner, but the key to humanity's acceptance into a larger galactic community. New Haven had grown into a true interspecies city, with Valdoran families moving into specially designed districts while humans learned to appreciate their new neighbors' graceful architecture and philosophical approach to life. Children of both species played together in parks where earth flowers grew alongside alien vegetation. The first Zephyrian medical centers had opened on Earth, healing diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. Environmental restoration projects using ancient technology were reversing the damage of industrialization. And in laboratories around the solar system, human and Valdoran scientists worked together to understand technologies that promised to revolutionize space travel. Ready for another exploration? Liam asked Kestra as the alien sun began to set, painting the sky in its familiar shades of crimson and gold. She rumbled an affirmative, her eyes bright with anticipation. There were still mysteries to uncover in the Zephyrian archives, wonders waiting to be discovered in the deep forests of Hestia V, and a galaxy of species yet to be contacted. Together, the human engineer and his alien guardian walked into the twilight, partners in humanity's greatest adventure. What had begun as a simple act of compassion beside a dangerous river had grown into something that would echo through the cosmos for generations to come. The future stretched before them, vast and full of possibility, built on the foundation of courage, trust, and the universal language of kindness between strangers who have become family. The end.